Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to do chapter 2, which is Introduction to Events. So, we already did our chapter 1, which is Introduction to Business of Tourism, Events, and Recreation. So, this will be our second chapter. So, basically, in Introduction to Events, in this chapter, we will be covering on the definitions of event, the types of the events, as well as the characteristics of events and event managers role, as well as event planning. So first of all, what is an event? So an event is designed to experience created in order to achieve a given purpose or objective. So basically, an event is conducted to achieve an objective by gathering people at a place, and frequently can be on an ad hoc basis or according to a set pattern, as for instance annual general events, committee events, and etc. So usually the event will be following the objective or the purpose, and based on that an event will be conducted. So events can be divided into two categories, which is corporate and private. So before that, I would like to show you guys two videos. However, playing the video here will be not as clear as you can watch directly from YouTube. Since we are doing the face-to-face class, I suggest you guys to just go to YouTube and just type 10 popular festival of the world, and you will be able to see the video. And there is another video which is about 10 weirdest festival around the world. So I suggest you guys to watch those videos. The reason is because this videos explains about festivals that you guys may not heard before, and if in case it's coming out in the exam, it will be easier for you to explain about the particular events. So it's better to know some events around the world, which also good for your knowledge purpose. Anyway, so you guys kindly watch it in YouTube, and here are some events characteristics. So events are usually happen once in a lifetime experiences for everyone. Doesn't matter that event is repeated every year, but when you attend an event, you usually get that experience at that point of time, and generally expensive because organizing an event is not easy, as well as the money that you are spending to organize that particular event is not cheap either. So in order to get back the money that you spend in organizing an event is basically to sell the tickets for the event. Doesn't matter if it's a conference, if it's a music festival, if it's a seminar. Usually you will see there is a fee or price for that, unless the whole event is sponsored by specific sponsors or stakeholders. So in this case, we can say that one of the event characteristics is usually events are expensive or being sold to the public or the audience, and it takes over a short time span. If you can see that usually the event that is being happening, it's either happen like 1 day, 2 day, or week. You won't see the event is happening every day, so it's not a daily life to happen every day. So events are very specific, that is very limited, and therefore you will see that during these events time, people are looking for volunteers or people are looking for part-timers. We can take example Mata Fair. Mata Fair is one of the event which attract a lot of Malaysian to attend this fair in order to purchase very cheap or very reasonable tour packages at a very cheap prices. So during this event, usually this event happen 3 days, and it's gonna happen very soon, 7 8 and 6 7 and 8 September. So this 3 days usually they will look for part-timers, and each day the part-timers will be paid 100 ringgit together with meals. So that is one of the benefits of taking part in event. And usually event require long and careful planning. So event planning can be divided into three stage: pre-events, during the event, and post-event. It is not as easy as we can see an event is being happen, but the arrangement, the process of doing an event is actually pretty long, and you need everything to be pre-planned in order to have a smooth and successful events. Events usually take place once only, meaning that it may happen once every year, but it is not happening every day. So that is what we are trying to say here, and it carries a high level of risk, obviously, because events is not something can go according to the plan. A lot of external factor or internal factor may affect the event. So when we look at the external factor, it can be the safety issues, it can be the natural disaster, terrorism, crime, and etc. Internal factors can be like lack of human resources, lack of sponsorship, not availability of location. Those things can be the internal issues. So you usually need to have a risk management plan in order to overcome this risk. We won't say that you won't have risk in events, but you need to know how to overcome the events by having a plan B. Last but not least is there is often a lot of stake for those involved. So as I mentioned earlier, to organize an event you need a lot of money. So literally you will be looking at stakeholders who can sponsor your event in terms of cash or in terms of products. Some sponsor your event by marketing and promoting your event as well. So all those stakeholders, including your sponsors, your participant, everyone is highly important, and therefore you need to give a lot of attention to them, and your main goal will be achieving their objective. Because even though you are doing an event, but you are doing for them and for to achieve their objective. So always you need to satisfy, you need to communicate with your stakeholders very, very often. And one of the example here I mentioned is Westlife 20 tour. I'm not sure how many of you able to attend this particular music event. So this event was one of the hit recently in August, where most of the Malaysian went so crazy in buying their tickets. So this Westlife 20 tour, if as you can see, it's very exclusive, as it's happened only for 2 days, 8 and 9 at Melati Indoor Stadium, Shah Alam. And why I took this example is because you can see that this particular event did not only attract Malaysian, but it also attract our neighboring countries, like people from Singapore, Indonesia also came over here to listen to their songs, music, and etc. And always this kind of events are once in a lifetime experience because of the atmosphere, the audience, and everything happening on that day at that time is only for that particular period of time. So you can't experience the same thing that you experience in Malaysia at Singapore, Hong Kong, or other part of places, because Westlife also went to other countries like Hong Kong, Thailand, Singapore. But what you able to experience at Melati Indoor Stadium is as it is. So wherever you go, obviously the experience will be different. So experience can be also affected by internal and external factors. So I don't want to go into that, but I'm just giving you some examples here. So here you can see that this Westlife concert was not FOC, free of charge for people. You can see the lowest was 273 to the highest, which is 693 ringgit. So in order to organize a concert, you also need to get the profit back. So how they are getting the profit? By selling the seats like this. So it's exclusive, expensive, once in a lifetime experience, and something that won't be repeated again, like happen only once. And here you can see that the experience that you can get at this place is something that is unique. It is not guaranteed that you can get the same experience in different part of the world. So what you get here is what you get here. So that's what I'm trying to say. And I mentioned earlier that events can be divided into two types, which is corporate and private. Corporate events can be like conferences, networking events, carnivals, seminars, press conference, board meeting, and etc. Private events are more towards like wedding dinners, birthday parties, festival gathering, and etc. However, these events can be also divided into 4 categories according to sizes. Starts from mega event, hallmark event, major events, and minor events. So we will look into one by one. Mega event is something that is happening internationally. One of the example is Tomorrowland music event. And you can see there are main four characteristics for this mega event, which is this type of event usually very large and generally targeted international market, and also involve a lots of cost, where it is difficult to calculate the cost because of a lot of stakeholders are being involved. And these events have specific health in terms of increased tourism, media coverage and economic impact. Basically this type of events able to attract more tourists, meaning that it's able to generate revenue, as well as this type of events will always be covered by the media. So you can see the next day it came out in the newspaper, in social media and stuff like that. Second one is hallmark event. So usually this event is being organized to increase the specific tourism destinations appearance. One of the example can be ICT. If you guys know where is ICT in Malaysia, it's not very far from here, around 40 minutes. So ICT is actually was a shop lot area where it doesn't have theme parks or the high city that you used to see now previously few years back. So in order to promote that area, they came up with the concept of lights, theme parks, and different components of elements. So actually these elements increase the appeal for that particular place. Similarly, you also can take example of Floria Festival or Hot Air Balloon Festival in Putrajaya, happening yearly once to increase the appeal of that particular tourism destination. So this type of event usually attract more locals, as well as it create awareness to the foreigners that there is a place called Putrajaya or ICTs exists here with this kind of entertainments. Third one is major event. One of the example can be Bon Odori Festival. So this Bon Odori Festival actually happen yearly once in Malaysia, and most of the time this attracts locals more compared to international tourists, because this is something that is intent to happen in order to create awareness to the local on Japanese culture. So this is more on giving awareness and education to the locals about other cultures. So it also create significant tourism revenues due to the shops and arts and craft that they sell during the event. Last but not least is the minor event. Minor events is where usually a small scale event managers usually gain experience by organizing and executing this type of events. These events include one-off events like historical, cultural, musical and dance performances. So Taylor's got different clubs, right? So if let's say if a music club is having an event, that is comes under the minor events category. There is also like meetings, parties, celebrations can be added to this minor event category, which always have a minimal budget or sometimes also happen with no budget, and also happen in a very small scale, in a very not very popular location. So that is minor events. So as I said previously, that events can be divided in two types. So I just put it in the slide so that you guys can just go through it. So what is event management? We know that events is something that is happen to achieve its objective by gathering the locals. But we need to know what is event management. So basically event management is where you're able to manage those events, or in a proper term we can say that it is an application of the management practice of project management to the creation and development of festivals and events. So organizing or conducting an event is not as easy as we are saying like this. So it needs a certain implication, certain process. So when you are applying those process, those steps, that's what we call event management. So basically the main aim of event management will be to bring all factors together to produce a workable event. So you need to conduct the event successfully by bringing in all the elements together. And who will be leading the event? Mostly advisor, chairman, and event manager. So we can see the chart here that usually advisor will be on the top. Advisor is the person who usually provide advice, also will give the freedom to the event manager to make the decision. But if the event manager or the chairman have any doubt, they will be getting the advice from the advisor who have numerous experiences in the field. So below advisor, there will be a chairman who will foresee the event manager. But here, the event manager is the most important person who will be taking the challenge, who will be conducting the whole event with the help of 5 departments under him. So there are 5 departments which are finance, sponsorship, marketing and promotion, logistics, food and beverage. So an event is conducted based on these 5 departments' help to the event manager. However, wholly the event manager will be responsible to the overall event. So an event manager is a person who plans and executes the event in generally. The main role of event manager includes budgeting, negotiation, booking venue, logistics, client service, script writing, and the list is go on. You can say that the captain of the ship will be the event manager. An event manager and their teams are often behind the scene most of the time as they are running the event instead of participating in the event. So it's very rare people see the hard work of the event team unless the event become a huge success, right? Yeah, so this is the event organization chart, and usually event manager are required to contact numerous public authorities in order to make sure the event runs smoothly and successfully. And those public authorities includes local council, police, medical assistance, traffic authorities, fire department, and liquor licensing. So most of the time all those things must be in order so that they can have a successful event. Otherwise it may create some issues as well. So now we can look into the planning process. So there are total 6 steps in planning an event, which start with initiation. So basically at the initiation stage, a market study or feasibility study will be done in order to identify which type of event should be conducted together with the objective. It's very important to know the main objective, as our whole event is going to be based on that. If we are not clear with our objective, it is better to finalize the objective first rather than go into the theme or concept of the event. And once you already have the objective, you will go into the concept development in terms of what kind of skills you need, timing, and then you will be continue with the budget, legal regulations, the factors that will be influencing the social, economic, and environmental sectors. So usually it will be during this market study, you roughly will know that what will be your advantage and disadvantage of doing that particular event. And the second step is planning. So planning is something that is extremely important, which involves a lot of work based on your market study. So in the planning stage, you will be break down the structure, or we will call it as the Gantt chart, where you will have all the task details, all the manpower that you require, and the correct sequence of it, and you will have the timetable of who will be doing what and what is needed, the resources, the budgeting, the contingency plans and everything. So you will put everything in under the planning stage so that you can have a better event. And usually under the planning stage as well, you will put in your proposed venue, your audio visual, your proposed program, and your proposed marketing strategy plans as well. So once you have everything, a solid plan, then you will go into the implementation plan. So implementation plan is when you implement whatever you plan as into the event. So let's say you already have a structure during the planning stage, then you will bring the planning plan into the implementation. So basically you will have the schedules or checklist to check in order to make sure the event runs smoothly. So usually this checklist will have which person in charge for for example, who will be the person as an MC, so how long she have to talk, so when she have to pause, so what is the first program, what is the second program. So you will be implementing everything according to the planning, and you will be just checking your schedule and checklist as if it's everything going as per the flow. So once your implementation stage is doing good, then you will be also going to the next stage, which is control and monitoring. So usually you will just looking at the standard, you will look at the tools, is it sufficient, okay, is everything going good, everything is okay, under control. So you will be just now your job is just monitoring and making sure that everything goes well. So basically this is like almost towards the end. So once this is done, then you will move to the shutdown stage. So I will be explaining more about the shutdown stage towards the end. And after the shutdown stage, you will have the evaluation. I will explain about evaluation later as well, right? So when you are organizing an event, you need a concept, right? Events can be many types. It can be a sports event, it can be an education event, it can be a marketing event, it can be a leisure event, music event. So the events there are different types of event based on the concept or theme that you set based on the objective. So every time before you creating the event concept, you always need to ask yourself 5 questions, which is why, who, where, when, and what. So what this each stands for. So why is actually stands for the definition or the purpose of the event. Like you need to define what is the actual purpose of me having this event. For example, your exhibition, what is your main purpose of doing this exhibition? Of course not because the lecturer asked you to do, because you are the one selecting the country. So you have some reason for selecting that country to be exhibit. So think about it. The next one will be who. Who is usually like who will be your audience, like who will be your stakeholders. So this is very important. When you are doing an exhibition, your audience definitely will be your friends, will be the Caylorians. So you need to think who is your audience. The third one will be where. This is very straightforward. Actually, target where means the location or venue. So for example, your exhibition will be done in front of Student Life Center, which is the hotspot for the Caylorians, because you can see that every single time the Caylorians are passing by that particular corridor, and therefore we can say that you're going to get the maximum amount of audience because of the venue. So it's always very important to know where your events are going to happen. And the second last is what is the second last is when is usually referring to the time or duration. So when you are doing an event, you need to set a proper time. It doesn't make sense you're running your event during the lunch hours. For example, your exhibition I'm talking about. Your exhibition is a good time to start in the morning, maybe until the lunch hours, because at that particular corridor you will see people are passing by during the lunch hours. But for other cases, maybe the lunch hour is not a very ideal timing. And also you need to consider when you are having a huge event like a music carnival, for example like Westlife, you need to make sure that it's not it's a school holiday or it's a weekend, so people can come and take part in your event. During the weekdays, trust me, nobody is going to come and attend an event, because you know when they're coming to an event on Tuesday, then Wednesday they need to work, unless that event is giving them so much of is very important for them, then they might do. So otherwise, generally it's very important to choose a right timing. The last one is what is stands for what type of event, what is the key program, what is the creative elements or team. This is very important, because if your event doesn't have any unique selling points or doesn't have any key elements, then it is not going to be the successful one. Always ask what make you different compared to others. Example, your exhibition, you're going to have a lots of other booths as well, right? So you need to know that how you're going to be outstanding than others. So always never forget to ask this 5W when you are creating a event concept, right? So yeah, so this 5W is always important. Even ask this 5W question when you are doing your proposal for your exhibition. Okay, next, as I mentioned very earlier, that event can be divided into three stages: pre-event, during the event, and post-event. So pre-event is include numerous elements which I will show you later, and during event is basically when you are running the event, and post-event is basically after the event. So usually what I notice is when students are doing an event, they always focus on pre-event, obviously, because you need to know what you're going to do for your event. You need to know your budget, your human resource, your logistic, availability of resources and everything. And during the event, the students will be very focused, they will make sure everything is going smooth and everything. But I noticed that students always forgot on the post-event. They don't bother after the event is over. Okay, that is really a big mistake that you are doing when you're doing an event, right? Post event is extremely important because that is going to tell you if your event is success or failure, and that post event going to tell you what are the improvement that you can make in order to make a better event, and it's going to evaluate your event from the audience perspective. So anything that's come from the audience, the participant, that is highly important. So always people forget about this, and which is not good at all, right? So we're going to go through one by one in the following slide. So I'm going to explain to you the elements one by one. So first we will look into the pre-event. So pre-event includes numerous elements. So first we start with the proposal. So a proposal is a plan or suggestion put forward for consideration or discussion by others. So even in your the business of tourism, recreations and events, you will be doing a proposal which you will be presenting to the lecturer in order to get the permission, right? So usually this proposal will have a summary of the overall plan on what you will be doing in order to have that successful event. So usually your proposal content include executive summary of the event, contents, your introduction, basically what is your event, and the concept basically you will be describing, including your board outline of timing, your actual show, your itinerary, your floor plan, and you will be having meetings requirement. You will show your budget, your organization structure for the event, your planning and logistics, including risk management plan and other marketing plans. And also you will be mentioning unique selling points, a conclusion, and finally you will have attachment which shows for example your budget report, which shows the picture of the location, which have the layout drawing and etc. So there are total 12 element that you will put inside your proposal. I'm repeating again all these 12 element or content that you will put inside your proposal. Number 1, executive summary. Number 2, contents sheet. Number 3, introduction. Number 4, the concept. Number 5, meeting the requirements. Number 6, the budget. Number 7, organizational structure for the event. Number 8, planning or logistic strategies. Number 9, marketing and sponsorship plan. Number 10, your unique selling points. Number 11, conclusion. Number 12, attachment. When you have all these 12 content in your proposal, then it will be a solid proposal for your event. Therefore, this solid proposal you can submit to your stakeholders in order for them to read and get an idea about the event, and they can decide if they can involve in your event, if they can sponsor in your event. So most of the time this proposal will be used to get the permission or approval from the respective authorities. Sometimes it also lead to discussion on how this proposal can be improved. So a solid proposal which have all the 12 elements in it usually is a complete one, and usually it will have lack of discussion due to the complete details. So the next point is budget. So in budget, it is very important to know what is your actual budget, and based on the actual budget, you can actually plan. On what should be considered to be spent. Example, in your budget, it is very important to consider your F&B, your salaries, your venue rental, lighting, staging, printing, etc., etc. And how you can also increase your budget is based on maybe your ticket sales, your sponsorship, your merchandising products, your advertising, and other kind of like fundraising and others. So whatever budget you have, you need to increase your budget, or sometimes you don't have a budget, you need to get everything from maybe a sales, sponsorship, and etc. So based on the budget, you have to give importance to the item that should be covered in your budget. So usually these items include, like what I mentioned, F&B, admin, lighting, printing, travel costs, communication costs like your top-up card, etc., etc. So at the end of the event, you must have a profitable and successful event. And you need, as an event manager, you need to make sure that it is profitable rather than it's an event that is success in terms of content, but it's a failure in terms of budget. So there is no balance. So you always need to be balanced between the budget, between the actual content of the event as well. So the next point is venue or site selection and design. So usually this covers on, you need to check on the availability of the venue, size of the venue based on how many people you target to attend your event. Every time when you have a venue, you need to have a layout to make sure where you want to put the registration table, where is the stage, where is the audience, where is the F&B area, and etc. And you also need to consider on the transportation and parking, as well as how accessible it is to the public. Example is, it is near to the MRT or LRT. Is there any public bus that can bring the passenger to your location? So you need to focus on all this when it's come to venue and site selection. And usually it's advised to go and do a site inspection first and make sure that everything is there in term, and its safety, it has the equipment that is necessary and everything. And once you do the site inspection, you come out with the layout, which include the stage, seating, registration, decoration, F&B, signage, and etc. So once you have that layout, you will roughly know that how the events will roughly be, and you will know that where you will be, where you need more human power, where you need more volunteers, or how the lightings will be, or how the backdrops will be, where you're going to put everything, how the table setting going to be, is it going to be a freestanding, or is it going to be the assigned one? So all this you will know when you do the layout. So that's the reason venue or site selection with design is extremely important, because it gives an idea to yourself on how the overall events will look like, right? So sometimes simple things like lighting will give you a big effects in the overall events, right? So next point is production schedule. Production schedule is basically like what is to happen, when it will happen, where it will happen, and who is responsible. So usually for this thing we will refer to the Gantt chart. For example, let's say according to the event, the first thing is MC is announcing for the special guest to give a speech. So the usherer should know who's the special guest, and the special guest should know how to go to the stage. And once the special guest is already in the stage, the the AV or ICT in charge person should know what slide should come out or should pop up in the projection. So everyone need to play their role respectively when it's come to an event. And it's really important to make sure that everything is being controlled and monitored, and everything is happened according to the Gantt chart, right? So the next one is speakers and supplier checklist. This is to check on if the invitation to the people has been sent off. Is it you already have the confirmation from them, their biodata and photograph for put inside the slide? Is it the slide presentation is ready? How about the VIP's accommodation and transportation? Because some events, for example, forum, speakers are the important people for a forum. So if you are having a forum, you need to have a speaker. So let's say your forum require 4 speakers. You need to make sure that 4 speakers already send their confirmation to you that they will be at the event at that particular time. So once you receive the confirmation, you need to follow up. You need to remind them that the event is, getting nearer. You need to allocate a special parking lot for these 4 speakers. You need to allocate accommodation if they are traveling from one state to a different state. Sometimes you can't bring the speaker directly to the event venue. You need to put them in a waiting room and explain to them how the event going to go, like event format, and then you will bring them to the event venue. So you need to put all this in your mind before you go with the event flow. And for supply checklist, usually suppliers are the people who are, like for example, F&B. F&B, you are going to order the food from a caterer, right? So they also one of the supplier. Maybe you are ordering a backdrop, so that is one of the supplier. You may have a lot of supplier, like photographer also a supplier. So you need to make sure that all these people already know where the event is happening, and all those people are aware about everything, and they know the flow of the event. So event managers' responsibility is to make sure the information is delivered properly. Therefore, communication is very important in event management. The next one is sponsorship. I would like to highlight here about sponsorship because most of the events are run by the sponsors. Sometimes the event is being promoted by the sponsors, and audience sometimes attend an event because of the sponsor. So sponsorship and sponsors are really important for an event, and you also should know like which company can sponsor your event or which company you shouldn't approach or you should approach. You need to see the relevancy between the event concept and the sponsorship. Sometimes some sponsors are not interested to be part of the event because it does not achieve the objective that they have. So let's say there is upcoming companies. So they are looking for brand awareness. So maybe those companies are the right one that you can contact or approach because they are looking for a platform to create a brand awareness for their product. In this matter, they are definitely going to be a sponsor or a potential sponsor for your event because it is their objective can be achieved by participating in your event. So you need to see the relevancy. And in order to approach the sponsors, you may need to prepare a sponsorship proposal which contain the overall event ideas, the objective, what the sponsors can get, basically the sponsors benefit, and the event flow and everything. So here, when you are doing a sponsorship proposal, you also require to do a sponsorship benefit package, which can be categorized as platinum package, gold package, silver package, and bronze package. So usually this package indicate if the sponsors are sponsoring several amount, they are getting several benefit. For example, if they are bronze sponsorship, maybe they are giving you 500 ringgit, therefore they are getting maybe a small booth to have their product so that they can do the marketing. And maybe for those who sponsor 10,000, their name is going to be in the banner, will be announced by the MC, and you're going to give them the whole event recorded into a video, and they are going to get the overall post-mortem report. So there are so many benefits that you can put inside, and you can categorize that based on the amount that they are sponsoring for your event. And in sponsorship, it's important to identify your sponsor, important to have a sponsorship proposal, and also important to have a different sponsorship benefit packages. And always you need to make sure your relationship with your sponsors is smooth, and usually you don't say no lah. If you want them to give you like good sponsorship, if you want to have a good relationship so that next time you can approach them again and again, then usually we will not say no. So we will try to put in their request or requirement as much as possible, as long as it is relevant to the event. So the second one, the next one is F&B menu. So here, usually we will check and compare the menu. We need to know, like, if you already know your participants are, let's say you are having a Malay wedding, so you already know who is going to attend the wedding. Therefore, you will be having a proper menu or proper F&B that is matching for that particular event. So usually you can contact suppliers, and you can get a numerous packages, menus, and you can check and compare the menu in terms of the dishes, in terms of the price. And you can also do a food tasting with different caterers or suppliers, and then you can confirm the best menu with best prices. And after this, we go to the guest list. So always prepare a guest list. So usually what we do when we have an event, before we have that event, we will create a page in Facebook, like, okay, who's going to the event, who's interested. Sometimes we will give a Google link. We will ask them to register in the provided link. So the pre-registration actually help us to prepare the guest list, help us to actually get an idea of how many people will be attending. Plus we can prepare the invitation letters or invitation card for them, and then we can confirm the attendance. So usually, let's say I'm having a forum materials for students, usually we will have a Google link so that students can be registered over there. So once they register, we will send like a reminder or like an invitation when the event is nearer, and then we will confirm back the attendance again when they reply us. So for us as an event manager or an event committee, we always need to look closely on the speakers, on the guests, to make sure that they are attending our event. So always need to remind them or send calendar invitation so that it will auto remind them. So sometimes people are busy, so we need to do our job. Number 8 is risk management. So risk management is a way of helping you to identify and dissolve the risk that could result in accident, injury, or damage. So as I told you guys earlier, the risk or the factors affecting your event can be internal and external, but most of the time it will be external lah, because internal factors you are able to rectify during your planning stage, and you are able to find a solution for that. So most of the time the external factors is the one that usually you need to worry about, and most of the time people don't really bother about this because they are very confident that their event will go very smooth. There is no wrong in being confident, but sometimes you always need to have plan B in life, right? So this risk management plan is always required for situations like what happens if rain, what happens if the parking lot is full, what happens if someone hurt themselves, what happens if there is a damage. So always ask the question what happened. If you can ask the question what happened for certain elements, then you are required to prepare a risk management plan. It's very important to always have a risk management plan, or we call it plan B, so that when things go wrong, you are able to solve it. I won't say there will be an event without any risk, and I won't say that you can solve the risk. What I can say is you can overcome the risk by having a plan. So if you don't have a plan at that point of the time, you will be very panicked and you will be like, oh my god, what I should do, oh my god, what I should do. So it's always better to have a plan for the risk that you're able to identify earlier. So usually the risk management process goes: step 1, identify the risk; step 2, analyze and evaluate the risk; step 3, identify the option; Option meaning your action plan. And the last step is treat the risk, overcome the risk, right? So you need to have this in your pre-event stage. Number 9 is marketing. Okay, event marketing is a matching process in which the event producer seeks to understand and meet the needs of their audience. So, marketing strategy is a planning of a promotion. How you market, how you positioning, how you are setting your marketing strategy will define the success of the event. For example, sometimes there are great event is happening, but nobody have an idea about the event. So there is no use you are having a very good event, very impactful event, but there is no proper marketing strategy because no one going to know about your event, right? Then who is going to attend your event? So usually marketing strategy, you need to have objective and you need to segment your market. Example, who exactly you want to target: locals, regionals, international. What is going to be their age group? Are you targeting generation Z, generation X, baby boomers? You're going to target males or females? You need to have everything under your marketing strategy so that you can market your event accordingly. Example, let's say that event is for generation Y and generation Z, so that probably you can use social media to market your product like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and etc. Imagine if your audience are baby boomers or generation before baby boomers, probably they are not even having any social media. So you need to look into things like television or newspaper or radio to promote. So like businessmen, you need to use emails to promote your event. So different group of people are using different mode of communication tool. You need to know that in order to deliver your event details to them. So that is important. And after marketing, you have promotion, the last one. Why promotion? Promotion is something have to do with increasing the awareness of the event, like letting people know that you have an event. Enhancing a positive image about the event. It's very important to give the perception to the people about your event even before they go to the event. Example, you look at the Eiffel Tower, it's already give you a very good romantic perspective. You always think that, oh, I need to go to this Eiffel Tower every time. But actually, when you go to the Eiffel Tower, you will never able to go just like that and see. You need to queue. You need to queue for long hours in order to get into the elevator. Then you go up all the third floor to see the scenery of Paris. And Paris is one of the cities where crime rate is extremely high. Pickpockets are just happen like a magic over there. So you need to have a positive image about that particular place before you go, because those positive image will encourage or motivate you to attend the event or to visit a place. And you need to also know how you're going to position yourself differently compared to your competitors. So that those things come under the promotion. And remind the target markets of the event details very frequently. Example, if you have a Facebook as a marketing strategy, then you promote the event frequently, maybe every day once or every week once. Keep posts about your preparation, about your speakers, about your topic, so which will remind them that okay, this event is going to happen and I should not miss that event. So what comes under promotion? There are 5 elements we can put under promotion, which are advertising, publicity, sales promotion, direct marketing, and personal selling. I'm not going to go through one by one because it's very straightforward. And it is not required to go into very deep. So maybe I can tell you briefly. Advertising means that is any form of non-personal promotion paid for by the event organization using various media. For example, you use social media to advertise your product. You can consider poster as your advertising product or brochures. Publicity includes all activities that the event uses to communicate with their target market. in which the medium is not directly paid for, which means you are directly doing the publicity. For example, newsworthy events where the interest to the medium's reader. So you don't really need a medium, or you don't pay that medium. Okay, you do the publicity very aggressively. Sales promotion is where you use incentive or discount to increase the sales. For example, let's say you are having a forum, so you say, okay, early bird can get the ticket for 100 ringgit. So these are the sales promotion that you can do. Direct marketing is by directly communicating with someone and encouraging them to attend your event. Example, mails, telephone, fax, or internet is considered direct marketing. The last one is personal selling, where you communicate directly with your target market. Example, face to face. So basically you see them face to face and you get them registered for your event. So these are the pre-event list that you should go through when you are conducting an event. So after pre-event obviously will be the during the event. So after during the event, then you will have evaluation. I didn't put the during the event or the event day here because event day is very obvious, right? If in the event day you will be running the event, so it's very obvious that you will be monitoring, you will be looking at, okay, what is going to happen, where is going to happen, who's the next person, who's the in charge person. So basically you will just checking the checklist. The checklist can be your logistic checklist, so you will be make sure that transportation is available, required logistic furnitures are there, example tables are there, chairs are there, rostrum is there, and you will check the contact list, like, okay, VIPs already arrived, is the guest is already there, is all the public authorities is there, those things. So on the event days, basically you are running the event, you are monitoring and you're looking around that things are going smooth. The last stage is post-event. So post-event always come with evaluation, and the evaluation process goes as data collection, analysis, reporting, then application. So why we are evaluating event? This is a very important question because most of the student doesn't do this. So number one, you are evaluating an event because to determine the success of the event in relation to the objective. You are able to get feedbacks and improvement, and you want to report how your event went to the stakeholders and sponsors because they gave you money, right? So you need to let them know how your event went. You need to show them some statistics that this is the successful event. And evaluation also done to ensure the future and reputation of the event and to contribute to overall data on the event. So basically, after your event, you will be collecting data, you will be analyzing, reporting, and you will be actually preparing a report on what has happened throughout the event. So when I say data collection, you might wonder, yeah, what to measure during the data collection? Don't worry, it's in the slide. What you supposedly should measure is profile of the attendance, like how many of them attended, what is their age group, are they students or working adults, etc., etc. You need to look at the parking or transport statistics, like how many cars came in, how many parking lot has been filled up, etc. You need to look at what the audience actually expect and are you able to satisfy or fulfill the expectation. And you will be taking down the suggestions or feedback given by the audience for improvement. And also you will always wanted to know how they heard about your event, like when they found that this event is happening. In order to measure all this, sometimes you will give them feedback form where they can tick the boxes. Sometimes you do interview like 5 to 10 audience to know the feedback. So why you need to do that is, when you give them a form to fill up, we call that quantitative method. When you interview them, we call it as qualitative method. We always encourage both because you can get various type of feedbacks, and you need to get all this in order to get the evaluation. So after you collect the data, you will analyze. Okay, for example, okay, students who attend the event, they feel much they feel like they gain much knowledge from this event. However, people who are already working in the industry doesn't feel like the event is benefiting. So you are able to actually categorize between the students and working adult. So you can see that your event is more appropriate for a student rather than the working adult. So that's how you analyze. Then you will put all this information into a report saying that okay, this is the event, this is conducted at this place, this time, this is the main objective, these are the people came over here. So be able to get like 500 audience. Out of this 500, these people are most students are willing to attend this kind of event again. However, working adult may not be interested to come over again, etc, etc. Why you are doing report, we will come to that later. Okay, just now I mentioned shutdown, right? So I told you I will explain to you that shutdown later. So here we have shutdown. Okay, basically this shutdown is also under the post-event stage. So shutdown should be planned as carefully as other stages of an event. The majority of accidents and thefts occur in the shutdown phase of an event. So this shutdown is basically when you close an event, when you do the reporting, the evaluation stage, you are shut down as like you are settling everything. So what I meant by shutdown is like example, arrange storage or disposal of all event signage, prop and equipments. If you look at the event that usually happen, student does not care after the event done. Until the event happen, they will be like very stressed, very nervous. After the event over, they're like, oh, hallelujah, I'm done with my event. Everyone is gone, disappear. Nobody cares about the trash, nobody cares about the pamphlet, nothing. So this shutdown stage is actually where you dispose all your unnecessary items like your marketing materials such as your posters, brochures and other equipments, and you will be usually settling all the payment. Like you make sure that okay, my speaker got the payment, my volunteer got the payment, F&B settled. You will check into the payments. You will prepare a full report which include overall about the event together with the statistics, because you are going to send the report to your sponsors and stakeholders, as well as you're going to keep a copy for future references, because that report is going to indicate if your event is a success or your event is a failure. If success, then why? If failure, then why? What you should do, what you shouldn't do, what you can do in order to improve your event. So all these details will be in that report. So you always, that report is extremely important. And this shutdown stage also includes on thanking all the stakeholders. You know, after the event is over, we obviously, the MC will say thank you for the speakers and everything, but it's always a proper way, emailing them and saying them thank you for attending the event. When you email them and telling them that you are appreciating them for attending your event, it's actually leading to a positive relationship. Let's say after the event is over, you are sending a thank you email or an appreciation email. This will create a positive image about the event manager as well as the event, as well as the organizing team. So next time when you approach them, they will be immediately saying yes, and they won't think to say a no, because they know how you will be doing the event and they know that you are appreciating their time as well as their effort. So always never forget to say thank you to all your speakers, sponsors, stakeholders, even your participants if possible. You can simply do that by sending an email. If the speakers and VIP, you can send email. For audience, you can actually use your social media to thank them. That is extremely important, and that is what I meant by shutdown stage. So now you guys already know pretty much about, you know, how to conduct an event, how the event actually flows, what is meant by event manager, and what is the roles and task. So I think pretty much that's it for this chapter. This is a very basic and brief chapter about event management, which actually will be useful when you doing your exhibition. So when you are planning the exhibition, you can put all this in your mind so that you can have a successful exhibition. You can have a successful, informative and unique exhibition. So I hope this chapter enlightened you, and good luck for your exhibition. So until the next class, thank you so much.